Okay, we're going to call the regular session of the Richmond Exempted Village School District Board of Education meeting back into session. First item we need to discuss is it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. Second, Ms. Story. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Defoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wooten?
Yes.
Mr. Zerman?
Yes. Okay, first thing on the agenda is recognition and rewards. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give the Beth Webster Leading Lion Award to Brandon Allen and Dwayne Kuhn. One of the things we know as a community, and I'm going to invite them to come up and say some words here too, but as a community, we have leaders not only in our school district, but in our baseball teams, all our sports teams, softball, our scouts, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. There's leaders throughout the community, so this is a great opportunity to recommend a couple, to recognize a couple of them. We all are dealing with in the community the tragedy of losing the Dorman brothers in June. And what the New Richmond Youth Sports Association has been doing is really driving the focus on the boys and really trying to focus it on the boys and what they did and their love of baseball and being around the sport. So Clayton, Hunter, and Chase were the three boys we've all heard about, and with Brandon and Dwayne. So Dwayne's was the coach for Clayton, who was D instructional, which is the coach pitch baseball. And then Brandon was the coach for Hunter, the 4-year-old with T-ball. So, I asked them to come. Now, the first thing, they didn't want any of the attention. Right. They wanted to push it up back to where it belongs to memory of the boys. So we're going to give them that opportunity and talk. We're going to ask them to come up and just give us a story about the boys and their baseball pursuits, and then ask them to tell us a little bit about what we're doing to remember them through a lot of things. Brandon's been doing some work on a Facebook page he can tell you about, and then also some other activities that we're doing there. So whoever, if you both want to come up, we'll recognize you, give a story about the boys and talk about how we're remembering them, and then we'll invite you up for a picture.
If you'd like.
First off, thank you guys very much for this amazing recognition. Like John said, the first thing that came to mind was that I don't deserve any type of recognition for anything that I've done towards these boys. All I've done is just express what their lives were like through the wishes of what their family has asked us to do. And it's been an honor for me to be able to to tell the stories of these boys, because what happened to them is not who they were. Their lives is who they were. They were just amazing kids, and this tragedy is not something that you're ever prepared for. And what I've just tried to do is just to do the best that I can to do right by this family and to tell the stories of these boys. I'll tell a couple quick stories. Tell one about Chase, the youngest, just because there haven't been a lot of stories about him because he wasn't old enough to be playing in sports yet. But Chase was at every single game that we played at. He was there all the time cheering on Clayton. And my daughter tells me a story of one of the last games that we had, and Chase was sitting in his chair having a ring pop on his finger like he usually had, some type of candy he was always eating, and he was kind of rocking back and forth in his chair, and as kids often do, they get a little bit out of control with their rocking, and he starts falling backwards. And the only thing that he's concerned about is making sure this ring pop doesn't hit the ground because he wants to be able to have this ring pop. So he's falling backwards, holding the ring pop in his hand, and he lands on his back, and everybody's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay, Chase?" And he's just giggling and laughing, and he holds up the ring pop because he was able to save the ring pop and able to have his ring pop for the game. So that was a story that my daughter told me. She got to witness it, and she just loves that story about him. And like I said, he was always there at every game that we ever had, always cheering on his brother. couple little things about Clayton. He was a funny kid with a huge personality. There would be times where we would be on the field in the middle of the game, and one instance in particular was he was playing first base, and I'm out on the field with him, even though his coach pitch were out there with him, make sure they're paying attention and not getting hit by the balls. Well, Clayton may have been the kid that you had to tend to say, Clayton, pay attention, make sure that you don't get hurt. And so I look over and I see him picking up dirt and little pieces of dirt in between pitches, and he's throwing it at the umpire's feet. And it just picking it up and just tossing it over and then just looking away like he's not doing anything. And the umpire looks at me and he's like, this kid keeps throwing dirt at me. Clayton, stop throwing dirt. Pay attention. You're going to get hurt. You got to watch the game. And he just kind of looks, and he had this smile that you could not help but look at his smile and just smile back at him. Just kind of gave me this smirk like, Coach, I got this. I'm going to be okay. Don't worry about it. So, those are just a couple, couple little stories. They loved baseball. They loved their families. They loved being around the sport. They loved being around their families. And, we're going to do whatever we can to remember Clayton forever. He's going to be a part of our team. I've said this multiple times that as long as I'm coaching this team, he's going to be on our team, and we'll find a way to continue to memorialize him and the rest of his brothers as well. But like I said, thank you very much for this for this opportunity. And I accept this as a way to continue to spread the word about these boys, because we want to continue to talk about their lives and what they've done. So, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, and I'm Brandon Allen. As was mentioned, I was one of the coaches for Hunter, the 4-year-old boy. As Dwayne mentioned, and it's been stated, almost felt awkward, accepting this award as individuals. They often say it takes a village, right, to raise these children, and in baseball and youth sports, that's no different. There's been so many people instrumental in keeping these boys' memories alive, and again, as Dwayne touched on, positive, right? While these boys' lives were cut short, their legacy nor their memories, they need not be, correct? So again, that's the main focus of I think everything we've been doing is just giving a testament to what kind of unique individuals these little young men were. Again, massive personalities. If you've been around them for 3 minutes, you would have noticed that. You'd walked away smiling just as they were. Maybe a little bit of like, what in the world just happened? But a quick story for me was working with a hitting stick. If any of you are familiar, you just hold a stick out and the boys hit it, comes back. You can hit several times in a very short period of time and get a lot of feedback. Hunter was a gifted player, even though he's 4 years old, primarily left-handed, but he could hit right-handed as well. So it was his turn, and he's just nailing this thing. We're doing really well. Hunter, great job, good job, good job. And all of a sudden, somebody I hadn't met at the time was across the fence. The only kid that really wasn't smiling and pumping this child up, turns out it was Clayton, his older brother, very intently staring at what he was doing. He immediately said, "Hey, Coach, can I have some swings with that?" And I said, "Sure, buddy, come on over." And I had to put the strap on my wrist because now Clayton is really turning on this thing. Again, all the boys were, wow, he plays for the Reds? I said, no, he's like 7, he plays for New Richmond, though. Oh, cool. Again, the only one that wasn't enthralled for Clayton now, you can probably guess, was Hunter. So very, very competitive. After they were done, again, I said, boys, look how good Clayton's done. This is unbelievable. Then Hunter says, I need to do it again. I said, Hunter, no, we got to get going. Next thing I know, I hear a ping, and Clayton had hit Hunter in the head with his bat, just knocked him off, with a helmet, of course. I said, guys, cut it out. I turn back around, I hear more of like a fleshy kind of note, and that's a bat against the shin, and that's Hunter getting Clayton back for hitting him. So here I am, by myself with these group of boys. I'm responsible. Holy cow, guys. Next thing you know, they're going at it WWF style. And I'm trying to break it up. Like, this is seemingly a real fight going on. Split them up, and they're both just ear to ear grinning. While they were so fiercely competitive with one another, I think they fiercely loved one another in that same aspect. So that stands out in my mind. It's been a pleasure. You learn life lessons, certainly, when you're coaching ball or any other sport or participating. As was mentioned, I don't think anything prepares you for a life lesson of this magnitude. I do want to, again, thank the village, thank our Cincinnati region, thank the world, frankly, for participating in the Play Catch for the Dorman boys, which was something just conjured up, right? To try to act and see life through their eyes, which I think is a true blessing. Finding joy in the simplicity of simple things like digging up worms to go fishing, or playing baseball or playing catch. So that's the whole aspect of this campaign, if you will, is just go out with your loved ones, whether you're 9 months old or 99, just get out there, enjoy, be active, and see the world through their eyes, maybe just for even a little bit through something as simple as playing catch. Kristen Bennett was great in help form the Facebook page. I'm probably the least techie person you've ever met in your life. But that could serve as the housing point of the hashtag Play Catch for the Dorman Boys. Last I looked, we were just shy of 1,000.
981. Right?
90, okay, nice. So, but it's been great. Media's caught on to this. We see posts from Maine to Missouri to Florida, all over the place. So, again, paramount, I think, is that the boys are so much more than just how things ended. And I want folks 10 years from now, 20 years from now, sure, you'll remember what happened, but there'll be something extremely positive associated with that as well. And that will only be built upon, I think, with the dedication here in the next year or so with Field 4 at the New Richmond Ball Field. So looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll see some of you at that dedication when that time comes. And again, this award goes to the village and everybody else that is making this a success. So thank you.
Your families, and you want to come up for a quick picture?
So when you got drafted, you got your picture behind.
Words are so eloquent. My God. Thank you. We got this one. We'll play this. We can help promote this in a way let us know his life.
We'll get your blood.
Yeah. They were too. Yeah, right. Nolan Morgan. Nolan Brown.
Stand behind you, I guess, or?
Right in the middle.
Yes.
Three, two, one. Right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for being the rainbow this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We actually had some rainbows after the
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, I'll see you guys at school with you, all right? Okay. Shake, shake. Very nice.
That's it. You're free to go.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right. Next on the agenda is public participation. I don't think we have anybody. No public participation. Okay, committee reports.
Sorry.
Curriculum and instruction.
Yes, sir. We met, I think, last week. Was that right, Dr. Joe? Wait, that summertime. I can't keep my days straight. So, anyway, we talked 3 things that are on the agenda tonight for a first reading. The first thing that we'll have a first reading on will be the supplemental text for 8th grade advanced ELA. The book is entitled How to Read Literature Like a Professor for Kids. The second item is the pacing guide for the math program Bridges K through 5, and then the pacing guide for Envisions Math 6 through 12. All three are on the agenda tonight for first reading.
Okay. That's the only report today, so next is superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. I wanted to speak mostly about the new state budget that came out. I think good governance, it should have the feel that governance is happening with the populace as opposed to happening to the populace. And I have the feel that this latest round leaves me feeling it's happening to us, to schools. I want to highlight 3 specific items which I'm extremely disappointed with. The universal expansion of vouchers. Everyone knew it was coming. The president of the Senate, Matt Huffman, was heck bent on making sure this happened after it didn't go through last year. And okay, so but I understand the concept and philosophy. So the House, to their credit, to the House's credit, they put into the budget to add in the same accountability measures there are for public schools. The Senate took it out, and it didn't survive. So Civics 101, again, governments don't create wealth. They spend other people's wealth. So as we send our tax dollars to Columbus, we're being told, here's how it's going to be sent back, and whether you would like it or not, that these $6,000, $7,000 vouchers will now be sent to private, parochial charter schools. We'll see what the impact is on public education, but again, competition is fine. It's a good thing, as long as we're all being held to the same accountability measures. I'm very disappointed that the Senate, our Senate, took it out. The beauty of being a politician is they can all go, wasn't me. It wasn't me. I wasn't on that committee. And as you're trying to nail Jello to a wall. The second thing is, when the governor speaks, when anybody speaks, usually they lead with what's most important to them. When Governor DeWine presented his biennium budget, he led off with the importance of reading. It's so important for children at a young age to be able to read and for schools to tie into science reading. 100% great. Had money set aside to provide for teacher stipends to take part in this training, which again was if you're going to give us a mandate, fund the mandate. That did not survive. So the money for teachers to receive their training did not survive in either side, the House or the Senate. Elections have consequences. The third thing is, the state is awash in money. I've said this several times in public session. They are awash in money. There's so much money in the rainy day fund, by statute, they can't put any more money in there. There were, depending on who you listen to, between $5 and $10 billion of extra COVID monies that was just sitting there earning interest. Governor DeWine, in his proposal, set aside $180-some-odd billion to provide for a school resource officer in every school. I would have lost the bet. I said, there is no way any senator or representative is going to take that out of the budget. Who in this climate and day and age would take a safety and security item out of the budget? But it didn't make it. Neither side. Because we've got to pay for the expansion of vouchers. So when I'm telling you, mark this, if you're videoing this, Garth, mark this, say this. There's going to be a school shooting in Ohio this year. It'll be at a bus stop, it'll be before school, it'll be after school, it'll be in school. I promise you, and I don't want to hear anybody's thoughts and prayers from Columbus. I don't want to hear a press conference saying how upset people are from people from Columbus. I don't want people from Columbus showing up for a photo op. Because something that the money is clearly there for, is clearly there, I was taken out. Those are my 3 points. I try to speak in threes. Those are the highlights of the state budget. It is tens of thousands of pages. We're still making our way through it. But I think our community should know that this is what has just been, this has happened to us. It hasn't happened with us, it happened to us.
Like you said, elections add
They do. They absolutely do. It was my displeasure voiced? Yes, it was. But wasn't me. Wasn't me. And here we are. After such a great presentation by our youth coaches, I hate to bring the crowd down like that, but people should know, I believe in crystal clear communication. This has happened. This has happened. Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the EOP proposal.
So as we carry on with fun topics, right? Okay, so in the year 2013, the New Richmond partnered with Energy Optimizers and had an energy savings initiative that was undertaken and had great success. It's been 10 years, things have changed and have aged since then. So Energy Optimizers has met with our facilities committee a couple different times, and also myself and Mr. Cox, our facilities director, has met with Energy Optimizers as well to see if it's worth a fresh set of eyes, what are the needs of this district, and so forth. Did a great job looking at our district for, again, for transparency purposes, for the community who's watching and here live. You'll see the Energy Optimizers proposal, and I won't open that up, but just say that it really focuses on 4 basic areas. It is boilers at Locust Corner and the high school, which are way past due. Exterior and interior lighting, and then going with timers on our vending machines. So those basic 4 areas. So anyway, I don't want to steal too much of your thunder, so I'll open up your summary slides and introduce Tanner and Dave.
I'm Dave Eschwald, the general manager. Tanner is our lead engineer. They came out, assessed the facilities, made the recommendations, and then to the facility committee, we brought the whole proposal, showed where the savings were generated, things of that nature. But I kind of want to stop there because the coaches kind of got to me. I have a boy that's 8 years old. We play baseball, so that kind of took me. I've been reading the story, following the story. Energy Optimizers, they don't know it yet, but we're going to give the school district $3,000.
How about you?
$1,000 for each kid. You guys do with it how you see fit. We'll work that out with the treasurer.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, it's just moving.
Wow.
You know, it does take a community and a village to raise every kid that goes through the district, and in my eyes, that's the least I can do. So I'll probably pass it over to Tanner to talk through, and we'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep. So the goal of our energy audit was, you kind of hit it. Look at, what is at end of life and what is, large energy savings or quick payback. As you see up there, we came up with a couple things where you could save, a total of $73,000 over, fuel, maintenance, and electric annually. The total project cost being about $1.2 million. But yeah, getting to the scope there, if you want to go to the second page. So the high school boilers, will be replacing those. Those are actually from 1964. It was long before I was born, actually. So.
Show off.
Yeah.
All right, we're done.
So replacing both of those, you do have another condensing boiler there now that was replaced, I believe, in 2013. So that'll be remaining. So we'll be removing the 2 larger combustion boilers, putting in a high efficiency convention boiler, as well as replacing the hot water pumps as well. At Locust Corner, those are from 1997, so 26 years old, past the useful life of a boiler. So we'll be replacing those with higher condensing boilers, higher efficiency condensing boilers, as well as the hot water pumps is there as well. And then you had mentioned LED lighting district-wide. Other than what is already LED, will be replaced as well, and I think that was a pretty quick payback as well. So interior and exterior for that. All of that will have a 10-year warranty, so we'll give you an attic stock of all the bulbs. And the other things that we looked at was the vending machine occupancy controls. they're very low cost, but quick payback. I think it's a year or under a year. And then the Indo Cubes, which would be some simple controls on the walk-in freezer and cooler. Again, super cheap, quick payback. So, yeah. If there's any questions,
I guess you'll replace them with street light bulbs?
it'll be the pole lights. So in the in the
They
parking
won't
lot.
be purple, will they?
No, they will not be. Unless you want the purple.
I've seen some of those purple ones out there.
No.
Yep.
These will be bright white. We do, the Kelvin temperature is 5,000 kelvins is what we usually use on the exterior to get that night. It works well with your camera systems and stuff like that, so you can capture. It's also part of the security piece, having that bright white color.
What's the warranty on the boilers?
They come with
I think it's a 5-year on the
heat exchangers,
and stuff like that.
and
And then 1 year, obviously, on install from the date that substantial completion, any issues that might arise during that time, we'll maintain them, parts and material for the first year, or parts and labor for the first year. And 5-year on different parts of it. I think it's just a combustion chamber that goes out to 5 years, but we can extend that out if need be.
Are they Cleaver Brooks boilers or what type are they?
they'll be Lyle McLean.
And water treatment, do they have to do water treatment on these too? Or-
Yeah, you guys should be doing water treatment. I don't know if you do it now on your current system, but yeah, it'll be
That system-
same thing that you already do. Yep.
I think talking of discharge or
Oh,
Yeah.
I think we had a 15-year payback.
Yes, sir.
On the project, correct? After that, everything was income coming in basically on the savings.
yes, sir.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the install process, typically after school, during the summer?
Yeah, so the lighting, we typically run second, third shift. You don't even know we're here. The guys come through, they work 4/10, so they usually come in for an elementary school, 4 o'clock, work. That could, if you got alarms and stuff and you want them out of the building, we accommodate those schedules, but usually the lighting can be done while school's in session. The actual mechanical work, there's some demo we could do it like spring break and all that, but with lead times and stuff, you're looking for a summer, that'll be a summer of 24 project time to disrupt the educational process. I mean, obviously, if there was a failure in something to meet, we would jump faster to accommodate whatever needs we could. And we are in Ohio, so we might have a 60, 70 degree couple weeks in December while you guys are on Christmas break, and we might be able to come in and do something. But the weatherman can't predict it, let alone me. So typically we would be setting this up to be a summer of 24 for the boilers, and then for the lighting, it's usually like a 12, 14 week lead time to get materials in time. So we would probably want to start in the fall. Try to hit some of the bigger areas, faster areas, like before basketball season. It'd be nice to get a gym done or so, do things like that.
Any other schools in the area?
So we just completed a huge project with Indian Hills that we've been working with them for the past 2 years. Even though they're going through a building project right now, we did all the other buildings as far as school lighting. Did boiler replacements to they have a central plant, so it's a little bit different setup. We worked with, just trying to name off the close ones, Oak Hills in Cincinnati, Northwest. We just finished up a big project with Dayton Independent just across the river. We worked with, that's probably close to your area. We've been in business 13 years now, and we've worked with 318 districts out of the 632, I think it is now. So about 50% of the schools in Ohio, we've worked with them. Our primary focus is K-12. Most of our associates have come from that background, so we understand. We have business managers, superintendents that are retired. I was a facility guy for 20 years, so we understand how your principles and how affecting the educational process is just as crucial as getting these improvements to save the money.
Anything else? Any other questions? Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Energy Optimizers USA proposal as presented.
Also move. Second. I got it.
Any other discussion?
I would add the comment there, if you would approve this project, the plan was to put $200,000 down,
district finance agreement, $81 million. I've got publicly on the record for that. Mr. Wooden, would you second the motion?
Yes, he did.
And then we would set aside a portion of the $500,000 that we use for facilities anyway, as that's our payment back to pay this back.
Yeah, we'll put $300,000 in permanent improvement this year for this reason, just in case we end up with this project.
All right, anything else? Okay. Roll call.
All right, Mr. DeFall?
Yes.
Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wooden?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes. All right, OC contract.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. You're more than welcome to stay.
I'll reach out tomorrow on that donation.
Okay.
Get you guys as fast as you
Wonderful.
can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sincerely appreciate it. Very nice gesture.
We'll probably just apply it to the scholarship.
Very nice
I
gesture.
have the voices.
Thank you. See you guys.
So we successfully negotiated a new OPSI contract for 3 years. I want to sincerely thank both negotiating teams. It took a better part of 2 long days. We got where we needed to be, and both sides feel like it was a fair contract that we arrived at. For our community who's here and watching online, we put both versions on there. One version is the full draft marked version, which in red shows everything that was changed. And the comment I made earlier, and I think it was to Matt, is that you'll see there's very little red in here because it's been a pretty good contract. So there wasn't a great need for change. The second attachment you'll see is then the unmarked version is what we'll then begin to use and disseminate moving forward for 3 years. Again, we thought we ended in a good place, a fair place for both sides financially. Just added some clarifying language for van drivers, how field trips are assigned, and added some attendance incentives. Those are just some of the highlights. So I'll be happy to entertain any questions. Mr. Pritchard, Mr. Cox is here as well, but I'm asking for approval of this contract tonight. Mrs. Story, a board member, served on the negotiating committee also.
Maybe explain to the public who all's covered under that contract.
Yeah, so that's great. It's our classified staff members, it's our bus drivers, it's our food service workers, it's our secretaries, it's our paraprofessionals, it is custodians, our mechanics who do a great job for us. Yes, maintenance. It's a wide swath of things. It's a wide swath of our employees. Very valuable there. They do a lot of work behind the scenes here to keep us running every day.
Okay.
Thank you.
It is recommended the Board of Education approve the agreement between the Ohio Association of Public School Employees, Local 267, and the New Richmond Exempted Village School District Board of Education effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026 as presented.
So move.
A second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Okay, Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Wooden?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. DeFall?
Abstain.
Okay, human resource items.
Thank you. The consent items, Mr. Zimmerman, we've had some resignations coming this month, as is typical in the school systems. But we're also bringing, we feel, some great people, some great teachers to replace them as well. You'll see there's 2 different sections brought up here. The top 2 are teachers coming in at step 1, but there's a change that the teachers below have already been hired, but they brought in proof of their advanced coursework. So that's the only reason that's broken up. Bring in some wonderful classified employees as well as the aforementioned classifications. One sub, and that is the extent of this brief HR consent items. Message for approval for items A through D.
Okay, it is recommended the Board of Education approve items 10A through 10D.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Miller, can you share with us our 2 new employees with building and subject area that we teach? Kara, did I catch you off guard?
You did. So I love that.
Yes, I love it.
I love that.
It's okay.
Yes, but Shane will be teaching middle school Spanish. I'm sorry, yes.
Foreign language.
Yep, well, we will teach in foreign language.
Yeah, I can't remember the first one either, I'm sorry. I'm like,
No,
better yell right now.
she'll be working special ed.
One of our 3 buildings.
She's special ed, one of her 4.
I'm sorry, 4 buildings. Think you know where I'm at today.
She'll be teaching special ed for us.
All right, any further questions or discussion? Okay, roll call.
All right, Mr. Default,
Yes.
Mrs. Story,
Yes.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes.
Thanks so much. And then briefly for our fall supplemental contracts, as been our practice for 4 years now, the items in black have already been approved. The names in red are new additions, so we're asking for the hiring of 2 assistant co-coach volleyball, high school volleyball.
Okay, it is recommended the Board of Education approve item 10F.
I'll second.
10.
Tim,
Mr. Default.
Yeah, I respect my orders.
any discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Zimmerman,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Default,
Yes.
Story.
Abstain.
Treasurer report and action items.
Thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. We have special meeting minutes, A, to approve facility committee meeting minutes for item B, and our regular board meeting minutes from last month for item C. Item D, Mr. Miller, for approval of financial reports. If you know about the board report, you already done it. Thank you so much. It's the last financial report of the fiscal year, since June 30th was the end of the fiscal year. I think just some things to jump out, maybe focus on this a little bit more because it is the end of the year. If you look at the top, on the top line there, the general property tax, if you look at the estimations versus this, what we estimate for this year and compared to 2022, 86 and 78%, that's because we're being underpaid on real estate property tax for the Zimmer Power Plant. That's what we're seeing. So we didn't anticipate those kind of reductions in that revenue to come in. And we actually got a payback on public utility property tax because they were delinquent on that as well, but they were asked to pay that back. That's because we got a large chunk of payback money that they were delinquent on. So those numbers are a little off. That's why. If you look down at the state revenue, everything's right around 100% for money coming in. Right around what we anticipated. We had a little bit less on the catastrophic cost because that varies year to year. We're at 94% of what we estimated. And the exemption for the homesteads a variable at 97 what we anticipated. So nothing really jumps out there. We were big on our Medicaid reimbursement. We did very well this year compared to last year what we anticipated. Student wellness was 100% of what we did. The biggest jump, if you look at interest, that line of interest, 807%. As the Fed continue to raise rates on our interest, and I'm trying to keep as much money as I can in our regular bank accounts to take advantage of that. So right now, our big account, where we keep most of our money, is running about 5.5% interest. Compare that to our CDs, they're running about 1% to 2.5%. So we're trying to get as much money in there as we can to benefit on that. That's the only really positive we have with the Fed increase in rates. It's helped us out a little bit. So I anticipated maybe $50,000 to $60,000 in interest, and we'll collect it $273,000. It helps. It's something. On our outflows, our money going out, I love to see anything less than 100% in that column, and we see just about everything less than 100%. As a matter of fact, there's nothing above 100. So even our salaries, we used some ESSER funds to compensate for some of those for salaries and benefits. I anticipated that, forecasted that, even then we still came in a little bit lower. So very, very good way to spend that money. Purchase services, 91%. Yes. Capital outlay was 85%. That was a lot lower than we anticipated, and we didn't hardly have anything other. We had a little bit more last year because we did some bus purchasing, we had a grant, so we spent a little bit more last year. So comparatively, it's a lot lower. So those are really good numbers. They're solid. They're not huge off 100% either way, but anytime you can fall short on your spending and go a little bit higher on your revenue, those are both good things. So just wanted to kind of focus on that for the fiscal year. Approve
approval disposal, we have a little bit of disposal on here, just a freezer and some items from the technology department and the downloadable list. And that is all I have for the treasury report this evening, Mr. Zimmerman.
Okay. It is recommended the Board of Education approve items 11A through item 11E.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Yes. Roll call.
Okay. Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Mr. Wooten?
Yes.
Mr. Default?
Yes.
Okay. Academic report.
Good evening. I would like to present, we have 3 items for first reading tonight. The first is the supplemental text that Mr. Wells mentioned before for 8th grade advanced ELA. We would like to use this book as a resource for this advanced 8th grade class to expose them to a deeper analysis of literary terminology that they will see when they enter high school. The book has funny insights and a conversational style. The author explains the way writers use symbol, metaphor, characterization, setting, plot, and other key techniques to make a story come to life. The name of the book is How to Read Literature Like a Professor for Kids. We approved the How to Read Literature Like a Professor for our high school classes last year. It was written by Thomas C. Foster, published in 2003, and it would be used in addition as a resource in this book to our My Perspectives program that we use in middle school, and would not replace any component of that program. The next 2 items are pacing guides for our 2 newly adopted math programs, Bridges for grades K-5 and Envision for grades 6 through 12. The pacing guides, which you can see outline the units of study to be taught, in the order in which they're going to be taught, and the approximate length of time that is spent on each unit. They're not meant to be exactly scripted, so the dates aren't meant to be exact. It is truly a guide. But they do provide a framework to ensure that we're providing continuity across our buildings and across all grade levels. Teachers would meet with me and with each other before each unit or 2 during the school year, so those can be adjusted, but it ensures that all of us are at approximately the same place at the same time. So all topics are being covered in the same depth.
So that's the first reading, so next meeting we'll have the second, and that's what we'll put on for the community to understand what's happening there. All right, communications report.
So I've spent most of my summer working on the website, and when I realized that I can't stand to look at my computer screen anymore, I had time to just take a break for a little while. I actually started doing origami on the side, and then that paper in your hand realizes it's not everyone uses the internet. Not everyone can get on here and view the stuff that we put out online, so I started working on our newsletter. And this, what you're seeing now, is the front cover of it. I hope to have it done very soon, like within a week or so. I think there's actually only one more thing I have to do to it. So this is what the front cover of it will look like. It'll be on the inside when we open it up. The mailing stuff is on the back cover. It's just the celebration of the graduates. Just wanted to get some of those kids out there and get them honored. Some of the stuff inside that you can see, this is the safety grant that the construction is underway on, and just telling people what we're doing with that money and how it's going to use to help their kids, help their grandkids stay safe and things like that. I think there's a box at the bottom of this page. Oh yeah, it's you guys.
There.
Yep.
So, bugs.
And there you go. The last page, I believe, is the math adoption, I think, right?
It is.
Yep, the math adoption. So just to kind of a look inside as to what's going on and kind of help out the people who don't have the ability or the access to the internet that most people are used to having. There's actually a box at the top of this page too, isn't there?
Speak up.
Yep, so I say speak up. So just kind of want to get as much word out there, as many things as I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Really nice, actually. Really nice.
Okay, it is recommended the Board of Education enter into executive session for the purpose of consideration of the appointment, employment, dismissal, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 121.22, paragraph 1.
Also move.
I'll second.
Amy got it? Okay.
Who's second?
Amy. Roll call.
Mr. Duval?
Yes.
Mrs. Story?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer?
Yes.